I know you've been hearing about MCP servers everywhere you turn. It's all over your feed on LinkedIn. It's all in your YouTube feed as well because you're in technology and you can't get away from it. It's a USB dongle. No, it's not that. It's part of development these days because we want AI agents to make software easier to talk to, right? But you still kind of maybe don't understand it. We're going to be talking about MCP servers from the company Cloudflare's perspective. They were there in the beginning and they have some of the smartest engineers I've ever met. Yes, I'm a big Cloudflare fan. We're going to talk about MCP servers, what they are, how you can utilize them, some real world cases where they're making a difference, and what the future looks like for this, because we think that this might be a turning point, a pivot point for development in general, but specifically around AI and agentic AI development. So we're going to bring on Ricky Robinett from Cloudflare and talk about MCP servers right now. Hey, Ricky, welcome to the SMC Journal Show. It's great to have you on.
Thanks for having me on, Scott.
I do want you to introduce yourself to everyone and what you do at Cloudflare and why you're so excited about MCP servers.
Yes, yes. Hey, everyone. I'm Ricky. I lead up developer relations and community at Cloudflare. I've been here almost 2.5 years, so for a little bit of time, especially in the tech world. Uh, I am excited about MCP because I'm a developer, and truthfully, like the moment it came out, we had something at Cloudflare that we built with it. And I had the privilege of being the person where they said, make a video about this new thing that just dropped, and I was making the video, and I was genuinely excited about it. Like I went in being like, "What is this MCP thing? Why are we jumping on this?" And by the time I finished playing with it, I was all in. And you were talking about that video actually, or one of those videos I made about MCP, and people often ask me, what is MCP? Why are you excited? And I grew up playing video games. I just got the Switch 2, still playing video games. But I played Zelda with my dad growing up. And I like to think of MCP as like the old man in the cave saying, like, it's dangerous to go alone, take this. Like, it is something that gives your AI tools that help it with whatever is in front of you. So, access to data, access to functionality that it wouldn't have before. And it's just so fun to see what is possible.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen anything take hold of the industry as far as a standard as fast as I've seen MCP. And I know we're talking in June of 2025, and it's been 6 or 8 months since Anthropic made the announcement. But the biggest stuff that I've seen is only 60 to 90 days old, and it's taken over so fast. Is this really, we throw game changer around in our industry a lot, but is this actually a game changer for software development as we know it?
Uh, I mean, we will see. I'm optimistic about it. I think coming into 2025, agentic was the buzzword. And I've talked to a lot of people over the past 6 months of like, what is agentic? What do you do with it? How do you make it real? And I think if nothing else, MCP has made agentic workflows, agents feel real, feel possible, feel tangible. And I hope that continues. But we're such early days that I think just riding this wave of excitement is the key thing that I see everybody doing.
One thing that's popped up in my feed recently was in the early days, some people were saying, oh, MCP isn't anything new and it's stateful. That's a problem. We're trying to move to stateless protocols. So why would they do that? But in recent weeks, I've seen that has sort of changed. And I know from a Cloudflare perspective, that's got to be pretty important because you guys thrive on serverless functions, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, one of the things I've been blown away with this standard in general is how responsive they are to feedback and seeing what's working and not working for people, right? And I think that's part of been the success and the foothold that we're seeing is they're just not afraid. Auth is another area that we could touch on where they saw feedback on auth and they said, "Oh, like here's some ways we can do this better." So, yeah, stateful always makes it a little more complicated, right? And I come from like API background and a REST API background, and it's like, yeah, the more state you have to worry about and wonder what does my agent know, what does it not know, the more complex things get. And so being stateless lets you as kind of the server or the person building the server or the user control what is happening in those conversations in a way that you don't have to worry like, oh, 5 conversations ago it comes back and there's like something stuck in its memory that like it forgot about because it's in the state and it tapped into it again. So yeah, for us, we are serverless. Obviously, we have ways you can manage state yourself, and I think giving developers that control is better than having it in the standard or the protocol itself.
Sure, sure. And Cloudflare, you guys were on the cutting edge of this thing when we started seeing the announcements. You were the first to announce that you could deploy your own remote MCP server through Cloudflare's network. And since then, about 30 days later, you announced all these vendors that you had partnerships with that were opening up their libraries. So, can you talk about some real world cases where I mean this has made a big difference already?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I'll say the remote thing has been really fun because one of the criticisms in the early days of MCP is it's local, it has access to all the stuff you don't want it to have access to. What if it, RMRF your whole hard drive and there are all these concerns, right? And so being able to do a remote MCP server also to me is a security thing of you've now isolated it into this essentially API that it has access to and not access to everything. So we were really, really excited about remote. There's so many real world examples that I've been stoked to see. We did this demo day that is on our YouTube channel, and Asana did this demo that was really, really clever of turning your meeting notes into a structured, real project plan. And so I remember watching that demo, and you start seeing like essentially the tickets being filed, and it's like, yeah, that's what I want an agent to do for me. Like, I hate filing tickets. Like, I want that to automatically happen. Square was another great one on a commerce side. I think the commerce part of MCP is really, really interesting. And then, one of my favorites, not to be too biased, is accessing your Cloudflare information through AI. And I do this demo where I connect to one of my D1 databases and I analyze it and run queries. We have, observability. Lots of customers have been telling us, hey, it's really important that when something goes wrong, we diagnose it quickly. And if we can go into our AI tool and say, hey, we have an error, look through the logs and see the patterns, it can go so much quicker than, looking through a bunch of dashboards.
If you're an SRE and you're in charge of reducing toil in your company, this is your dream come true. This is your moment, right? So
Yeah,
I'm very
yeah. I've
excited.
talked to so many folks who have been like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for, right? That side of it, I think, is underappreciated right now because it's a little less glamorous to show off because you need something broken in the moment to see how powerful it is.
Nothing causes change like a problem. Oh, I remember that from
Yeah,
one of my
yeah.
mentors. So we're just a few days away from an announcement that was made about a new code repo out there that you guys have open sourced called use-mcp. Can you tell me, like, why should we be paying attention to that?
Yeah. So this kind of came from this idea we saw of, hey, lots of people are building MCP servers. They're really powerful. You can plug them into AI tools you already have. But what if you're building an AI tool and you want to tap into these servers, right? And so the MCP client is a thing that we felt had not been as appreciated yet. And so we wanted to give people the ability really quickly, to use MCP, connect to their servers from any app they're building. So instead of having to be dependent on Claude or Cursor or anything like that, you can just build it in yourself. And this is kind of the thing that got me excited about MCP to begin with, because I've written the same tools or functions into my code over and over, right? And it's like, oh, all that tool calling I built, can I just offload that to an MCP server? And so use MCP as a way to let you do that.
I feel like there's kind of two sides to this in terms of the reactions that we're seeing. So we've got some developers who are all in already, and they truly believe we're going to go from months to minutes on code, and everything's going to be great. Then you have the other side that are saying, hold on a second. I mean, once you actually build this and then you try to turn it over to a real business and it's messing with sensitive information, you can't release it, you can't do anything with it. So, what do you say about that? Like, is this? We keep talking about like this is changing the developer experience, but is it? What is it going to do for the developers like day one when they adopt this?
Yeah, I'm always kind of it's a bit of column A, a bit of column B person, and so Hey, I think if you're a developer, you're toying with all this stuff already. Like I saw a study that said like 90% of developers have tried AI in their software development workflow. And I've literally been around the world and I asked this question of like, hey, developers, like who here has tried AI? And I don't know if I've seen a hand not go up of people trying it. So I don't even have to say like you should be trying it out. I think there are constraints of what's possible now, but I think these tools are really good at helping you move fast. They're really good at helping you go from 0 to 1, and kind of taking the toil out of some of the things you have to do over and over again. Uh, I think larger code bases, it's still hard, right? Like more complicated problems, like it's still like things I struggle to see success with. And so, I think that it's going to get better. I always say like today is the worst it's going to be. So like it's going to be able to do that stuff, but I think like looking at 0 to 1 problems, looking at problems that are well scoped, well defined, that aren't going to overload your context window, are the things that are really, really good.
Yeah, so we have to keep in mind that we're talking about a technology that, I mean, most people have only been messing with for months, if not just weeks. You're not going to get all the wrinkles ironed out of that in the beginning like this, but you have to adapt or die. That's just the rule. That's why you're seeing all these people that have used this. Who's used Cursor today, or who's used, it's it's the new way. You got to do it. So um, let's talk about Cloudflare a bit because I know you're being on the forefront of this, but I think a lot of people are sleeping on Cloudflare's offering. You've got a free, generous tier. There are so many things that you can do, but you offer sort of like these toolkits, these end-to-end toolkits that people can use if they want to get involved with, agentic AI development or using MCP servers. Can you talk a little about the stuff that you have for people that's sort of there they can take advantage of today?
Yeah, so, lob me up a softball, Scott. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love it. So, yeah, first of all, I'd say go to agents.cloudflare.com. That's like our hub for all things agentic AI. I also think it's just like a beautiful page. I had nothing to do with it, so it's just me like giving props to other people who worked on it. But that is the hub. We also have on GitHub /Cloudflare/AI, which is a repo that house like a bunch of demos, things you can deploy yourself. So like an authless MCP server or a GitHub auth MCP server are on there. And then I'd say come hang in Discord with us. Like a lot of this is moving so fast that it's not just the stuff we have out there, it's the conversations we have together. We have a MCP channel on our Discord. You can go to discord.cloudflare.com and join, and let's build this all together. And if there's something you want to see that we can't do yet, tell us. And at the pace this is all moving, I would not be surprised if you see things launch very, very quickly that you feel like may be missing.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for giving us a dive into that. I will make sure that we have links to these things, and I'll show people on the screen. They'll be seeing it while we're talking here. But is there anything else you want to say to anybody, or anything else you'd like to mention?
Just please show us what you're building. We make all this stuff not because we just want something to do. We make it because we want to see developers unlock their own ideas and build things they didn't think they could do. And so, like I said, hang out in Discord. I'm on X, LinkedIn, wherever you are, you can probably find me. And so, if you've built something cool or you have a question, just don't be shy.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Ricky. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
Hey, look, I could be the cranky old guy who refuses to change, but in this case, I actually do believe there's something to the MCP protocol. And I believe that anytime you have software that maybe wasn't intended to talk to each other, and we can make it talk to each other easily, and we can make AI agents do things with that software that it wasn't really natively meant to do from the beginning, well, I think that's a good thing. And I think it brings us progress faster. And reducing toil Nothing wrong with that. So, hey, if we got to change, we got to change. So, what do you think about the MCP protocol? Is it a game changer? Is it what everybody is saying it is? And are you already involved with it? Are you using it? If so, I'd really love to hear your feedback. Why don't you leave me a comment in the section below? And hey, for those of you who want to dive in a little bit deeper, I'm actually excited about my brand new community that I'm starting on scottmoore.consulting. This is going to be a brand new thing where I'm doing deep dives into topics just like this, back-end services. Yes, performance engineering, observability, but also we're going to start getting in some code. Did you know that I've actually written code before? You haven't seen me at a keyboard in a while, but that's really how I got my start. If you need to reach out to me, anytime, I'm pretty much available on most social media networks. If you look at these links or the QR code, you can find me there. You could also do me a really big favor if you like this kind of content, like the video, subscribe to the video, and let me know down below what you want to see next. Till the next time we get together, this is Scott Moore saying thank you and bye-bye. And especially AI development and I'm just not going to get this, am I?